Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today is a fantastic day to dive deep into the latest Port Charles drama. We have a lot of intense developments to unpack, so let's jump right into the analysis. Okay, so I've been thinking about this and my brain is just doing loops over the entire Wyndemere sub-basement sequence. Like, I literally stayed up until 3 a.m. rewatching that specific scene where Sonny Corinthos kicks the door in because there is so much psychological baggage packed into those 10 seconds. Here's what's bugging me. Actually, no, wait. First, I should mention how we even got here because the pacing was kind of wild. Sonny literally just finished breaking Pascal at the Corinthos coffee warehouse, right? He gets the safe combination ships, Jen Sidwell's butler, off to an airfield, and then somehow, and I'm still a little fuzzy on the exact logistics here, but whatever, he follows Pascal's residual trail straight into the bowels of Wyndemere, and thank God he did, because Jocelyn Jax was literally seconds away from having her throat slit by Cassius. I mean, fake Nathan West was fully unhinged at this point. But the thing that keeps playing in my head is the absolute lack of hesitation from Sonny. It's weird, like, really weird. The whole thing is just weird. He didn't yell, drop the knife, or try to negotiate. He just walked in, assessed the geometry of the room, saw the blade against Jocelyn's neck, and put a bullet in Cassius. Bam. Done. Actually, wait, let me back up. I need to talk about Jocelyn's escape attempt first because it completely recontextualizes Sonny's entrance. I think it was episode 12 or 13, somewhere around there. Jocelyn finds those makeshift shivs that Anna Devane left behind in the cell. Remember, the message on the wall, Anna Devane was held captive here. I was taken on the 31st of October 2025. So Jocelyn sets this trap, she causes a brief power outage, she ambushes Cassius. She's fighting for her life, fully leaning into her Spencer and Jack's survival instincts. But it fails because Sidwell stops her at gunpoint earlier and then Cassius gets the upper hand again. So by the time Sonny arrives, Jocelyn is out of options. She is completely at the mercy of a psychotic Faison offspring. And then her former stepdad, the mob boss she has been actively despising and trying to distance herself from, materializes out of the shadows like the Grim Reaper. What was I saying? Oh, right, the shot. The absolute cold-blooded nature of the shot. Sonny didn't shoot to wound. He didn't aim for the shoulder. He executed Cassius with the kind of terrifying precision that reminds you why he's run the Eastern Seaboard for decades. But then again, that doesn't explain why Jocelyn looked at him like he was the monster in the room. Or maybe it does, I don't know. Okay, I know I just said the opposite, but hear me out. Jocelyn is sitting there breathing heavy, and Cassius's blood is probably pooling on the stone floor of the Wyndemere sub-basement. And she just stares at Sonny with this pure, unadulterated horror. You'd think she'd be crying tears of relief, right? Like, oh my god, Sonny, thank you for saving me. But no, she looks completely traumatized by the rescue itself. It's basically this massive collision of her cognitive dissonance. On one hand, she hates the mob. She hates the violence. She hates Dex being involved in it. She hates everything Sonny stands for. But on the other hand, the only reason she has a pulse right now is because of that exact mob violence. She needed a killer to save her from a killer. And seeing Sonny just extinguish a human life without even blinking, it shattered whatever sanitized version of reality she was trying to cling to. I mean, not exactly, but kind of. I'm sort of trying to read her facial expressions and maybe I'm projecting. But it's just so fascinating. Sonny didn't look at her like a mob boss after he pulled the trigger. He looked at her like a dad checking on his kid. He probably asked if she was okay in that low, gravelly Sonny voice, completely ignoring the dead body at his feet like it was just a piece of misplaced furniture. That juxtaposition is what breaks Jocelyn's brain. How can someone be so incredibly loving and protective and simultaneously so sociopathically detached from taking a life? It's the core Sonny Corinthos paradox, right? We've seen it for 30 years, but for Jocelyn, experiencing it firsthand when she's the one being saved, it's too much. Probably doesn't matter, but I noticed the lighting in that scene was super harsh, casting these long shadows that made Sonny look half hero, half villain. Sort of a visual metaphor, I guess. Anyway, the point is, wait, what was the point? Oh, right, the fallout. Because you can't just drop a body in Wyndemere and walk away, especially not when that body belongs to one of Jens Sidwell's top guys. Sidwell's reaction is a whole nother rabbit hole I've been going down. Sidwell goes completely, certifiably crazy over Cassius's death. He vows to level Port Charles to the ground to get revenge. But why? Is it because he actually cared about Cassius? No, definitely not. Sidwell doesn't care about anybody except Sidwell. It's an ego thing. It's about property and control. Sonny didn't just kill a henchman. Sonny walked into Sidwell's fortress, bypassed his security, killed his proxy, and walked out with the hostage. It's a massive Humiliating defeat for a guy who thinks he's the smartest villain in the room. Sidwell has been treating Port Charles like his own personal chessboard, blackmailing the mayor, running his deceptions insight schemes hunting Britt and Rocco, and Sonny just flipped the board. But wait, is Sidwell actually capable of leveling Port Charles? I mean, he's got resources, sure. But he's losing his grip. Pascal just betrayed him and gave up the safe combination to Lucas Jones. Cassius is dead. Ross Cullum is running around, making messes, trying to find whoever shot him, which we know is Rocco, but Cullum thinks it's Danny. Sidwell's empire is literally crumbling from the inside out, but a cornered animal is the most dangerous, right? So if Sidwell decides to go scorched earth, what does that look like? Does he bomb the hospital? Does he go after Carly? He knows Sonny's weak spots. Actually, if Sidwell wants to hurt Sonny for killing Cassius, he's going to target the people Sonny was trying to protect, which puts Jocelyn right back in the crosshairs. Or maybe not, I don't know. Maybe Sidwell just hyper-focuses on Sonny directly. Okay, wait. Let me pivot, because I am completely ignoring the most messed up part of this entire storyline. Laura Collins, Mayor Laura Collins, the moral compass of Port Charles. What is she doing? I am literally pulling my hair out trying to understand her motivations here. So Sonny commits a straight-up homicide. Yes, it was defense of another, but it's Sonny. So it's a mob-style justice execution in the eyes of the law, and Laura covers it up. She uses her political power, her mayoral influence, to sweep Cassius's death under the rug. Why? Because of the Henry Dalton secret. Remember the phone call from Britt? Britt contacted Sonny from somewhere on the run and dropped the bomb. That Pascal helped Sidwell cover up the murder of Henry Dalton. And somehow this ties back into the blackmail Sidwell has on Laura. So basically, Laura is facing this crushing political pressure. If she arrests Sonny, or lets the PCPD investigate Cassius's death properly, Sidwell's entire operation gets exposed to the feds, which sounds good, right? But if Sidwell goes down, he takes Laura with him. He releases whatever blackmail he has and he exposes the Henry Dalton cover-up. So Laura has to protect Sonny to protect herself, which means she is actively subverting the justice system she swore to uphold. It's wild, like really truly wild. Laura is compromising her core values to protect a mobster, because the alternative is mutually assured destruction. I think... Wait, did Britt actually see Sidwell shoot Dalton? Yes. The notes said Sidwell shot Henry Dalton in front of Britt. That's why she's on the run, well, partly why, along with protecting Rocco. It just makes me think about how far Laura has fallen, or maybe how pragmatic she's become. I'm trying to sound smart about political science here, but basically she's trapped. She recruited Lucas Jones to get the safe combo from Pascal so they could get the blackmail photos and destroy Sidwell's leverage. But Lucas hasn't gotten the photos yet, or maybe he has and they just haven't secured them. The timeline is so messy in my head. If they don't have the photos, Laura's still on the hook. So when Sonny shoots, Cassius Laura has to go into full crisis management mode. She's probably making calls to Joe Fitzpatrick, who, by the way, I am 100% convinced is a dirty cop working for Sidwell. If Fitzpatrick is investigating Wyndemere, Laura has to actively steer her own detective away from a murder scene. The stress must be literally eating her alive. Let's go back to Sonny for a second. I feel like I didn't analyze his headspace enough. When he pulled the trigger, was he thinking about Carly? He knows how much Carly loves Jocelyn. If Jocelyn died, Carly would never survive it, and Sonny would never forgive himself. So in that fraction of a second, Sonny isn't just saving Jocelyn, he's saving Carly's soul. He's saving his family. But he does it through the only language he truly speaks: violence. And the tragedy is that by using that violence, he alienates the very girl he just saved. Jocelyn's horror is going to create a massive rift. She's going to go back to Carly and say, "Mom, he murdered someone right in front of me. He didn't even blink." And Carly is going to be like, "He saved your life, Joss." It's going to be the same old argument they've been having for years, but amplified by 1,000 because there's actual blood on the floor this time. I mean, think about the psychological toll on Jocelyn. She was held captive. She read Anna Devane's desperate wall carvings. She tried to fight back and failed. And then she watched a man's brain get blown out. She is going to have severe post-traumatic stress from this. She's going to be jumping at shadows. And every time she looks at Sonny, she won't see a savior. She'll see the muzzle flash. It's brilliant writing, honestly, because it traps all the characters in their own specific hells. Sonny does the right thing the wrong way. Jocelyn survives but is mentally shattered. Laura keeps her job but loses her soul. And Sidwell loses his pawn but gains a reason to declare all-out war. I keep trying to figure out what Sidwell's next move is. He says he's going to level Port Charles. Does he have the manpower? Cullum is his main enforcer. But Cullum is distracted trying to find Rocco and Britt. Pascal is gone. Cassius is dead. Sidwell is running out of loyal soldiers. Maybe he hires outside mercenaries, or maybe he uses the Deception's insight shipments to smuggle in explosives or something. I don't know. I'm totally spitballing here, but Sidwell is arrogant. His ego is bruised. When a narcissist like Sidwell gets humiliated by a street guy like Sonny because in Sidwell's eyes, Sonny is just a local thug, whereas Sidwell sees himself as this international mastermind, the reaction is going to be disproportionate. He's not just going to try to kill Sonny. He's going to try to destroy everything Sonny loves. Which again, circles back to Carly, Jocelyn, Christina, Michael. Speaking of Christina, she's leaving for med school, which is just, okay, totally off topic. But it's happening at the exact worst time. The city is about to become a war zone. Sidwell is vowing to level the place. And Christina is just packing her bags for UCLA. Sonny's going to be so distracted trying to keep her safe while also fighting a literal war. Actually, maybe Christina leaving is the only thing keeping her alive right now. If she stays, she's a target. But I digress. What was I talking about? Oh, the Wyndemere basement. The logistics of the cover-up are fascinating to me. How does Laura actually hide a body in Wyndemere? Wyndemere is huge, sure, but the PCPD is already swarming the place because Dante sent Fitzpatrick there to question Pascal about Marco Rios' murder. So Fitzpatrick is literally on the island. Sonny shoots Cassius while a police detective is somewhere upstairs or on the grounds. The sheer audacity of it. Laura has to intercept Fitzpatrick pull rank as the mayor and somehow smuggle Sonny and Jocelyn out of the tunnels while a cleanup crew, probably Brick or somebody, deals with Cassius's remains. And Laura is doing all of this while sweating bullets about the Henry Dalton secret. If Britt's revelation about Dalton comes to light, Laura's entire administration collapses. It's a masterclass in compounding consequences. Every single action in this storyline is a reaction to a previous bad decision. Pascal tells Cullum about the meds, so Cullum kills Marco. Lucas wants revenge for Marco, so he helps Sonny break Pascal. Pascal gives up the safe combo, which makes Sidwell desperate. Sidwell's desperation leads to the standoff with Jocelyn. The standoff leads to Sonny executing Cassius. The execution leads to Sidwell's vow to destroy the city in Laura's corrupt cover-up. It's a perfect domino effect. But then again, that doesn't explain how no one heard the gunshot. Wyndemere has thick stone walls, but still. A gunshot in a sub-basement echoes. I'm probably overthinking the acoustics of a fictional castle.